Hello, ma'am.
Hi,
How are you?
I am pretty good. What about you?
I'm also good. Thank you for asking.
Well, Neha, as we are meeting for the very first time, could you tell me something about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, hello, ma'am. I am Neha and I am from Jharkhand. And last year, I completed my graduation in English honors. And currently, I'm working on my communication skill and as well as my basic computer skill. That's all about me. And I would like to know about you.
Wow, that's great. You are also from Jharkhand. I'm glad. So I'm Sufi, and yes, connecting to you from Jharkhand. And by
Okay.
profession, I'm a spoken English trainer, and I'm a part-time YouTuber as well. And my hobbies are interacting with various individuals. That's
Hmm.
what I really enjoy. And I like playing badminton. However, I don't get time. But when I'm done with my sessions and all, I do play with my siblings. Yeah.
Okay. So, from which district you are from Jharkhand?
I am from Palamu district. What about you?
I'm from Dhanbad district. I think you heard about this district.
Yeah, very well. The place where I live, there are so many people live from
Hmm.
Dhanbad. They are from Dhanbad actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's quite famous here. Dhanbad and Ranchi both are famous in Jharkhand.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you said that you are pursuing your graduation in
No, no, I
English.
pursued like last year I completed my graduation in English honors.
Oh, you completed your graduation.
Yeah, I completed. Mhm.
Um, how how did you get into this field? I watched your video with multiple YouTuber. How when did you decide that I have to communicate with people?
So if I talk about the when I decided to communicate with people, which is I think last month in December. But if I talk about my English journey, so it's almost a year now. I started my journey in the beginning of 2024. But yeah, that time I do practice with myself, but not with the real person. But nowadays I am trying to interact with various type of people.
Wow, fantastic! I've seen you make really amazing conversation. I have seen your videos with Rahul, I think, and
Mhm.
Shravan as well. Yeah, I saw the
Yeah,
video. So,
thank
you tell me your journey, Neha. Now you have started communicating with people. Um, how has been your journey so far? As you said that you have been learning English for the past 1 year, right? How
you.
did you
Right.
practice? How did you work on yourself? Yeah.
Okay, so if I talk about my initial days, so that time I only do the practice with myself with the help of sometime camera, sometime mirror. But after almost a 6 month, I realized that I am comfortable with myself because talking to yourself when you do each and every day, so you are comfortable with yourself. But what about the people? I am not able to interact with the people at that time. So last month I
Mhm.
decided, okay, now I have to get out of my comfort zone and I have to do real conversation with the real person. So the initial step of taking out of my comfort zone is little bit difficult, I would say, because when you are talk to yourself, you can say anything, but when you are talking to
Correct.
anybody, so it's a different thing that you are
Yeah.
talking to a person who is totally stranger for you. So yeah,
Okay.
initial step was difficult for me, but after doing almost 10 to 15 conversation, now I am little bit comfortable and confident to talk to the people.
Yeah, I can see. I watched a video, so I felt that I have to talk with this girl. But I didn't know that you're from Jharkhand. But I'm like glad after knowing that you're also from Jharkhand.
Yeah,
Well,
because
yeah. So Neha, as you said that my initial step was not like easy, right? It was not a
right.
piece of cake. So, what sort of challenges you faced, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, so the challenges are like whenever I was talking to the person, I fumbled a lot. I also fumbled nowadays, but it's quite little bit, I think, less if I compare to my initial days.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. So at that time, at that time I was only thinking about what would I say. But now a time I try to listen the other person, that what they are trying to say, what they are how they are making the conversation. I put attention on their speaking way, how they speak. And after that, I decided, okay, now I want to ask this or whatever. I just go into the conversation.
Wow. So you mentioned one thing, Neha, that I listen to the next person, right? Do you
Mm.
think listening plays a very important role when it comes to communication?
Yeah, definitely. Because how much you watch something, how much you read something, when you don't listen anybody, so you are not able to answer that person. So for the speaking purpose, you have to first aware about the listening. That you are a good listener. You have to a good listener first. Then you are able to speak.
Absolutely. You have to be a good listener, right? Or when it comes to, communication, what I have seen generally people talk, but they just nod their head, but they don't listen to the next person attentively. That's where, they stuck and they fumble. So I also believe same, it plays very important role and we must listen to, anyone attentively so that we can make conversation effectively. Yeah. So, Neha,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know for what purpose you started. Like, I couldn't ask, but I would like to know for what purpose you started learning English.
So there is no as such purpose. As I mentioned before, that I am from the English honors background. So
Yeah.
one day I was thinking that, okay, I completed my graduation in English honors, and now I am not able to speak in English. So what's the meaning of completing your graduation in English honors and you are not able to even communicate in that language? So yeah, it gives me the, I mean, that time I think, okay, now I have to speak in English.
Okay. So, you thought that I am doing my graduation in English literature, but when it
Mhm.
comes to communication, I'm not able to communicate in
Yeah.
English. So, I should, work on my speaking skills, right?
Exactly, you're right.
Right, that's how you decided, and finally you did it. That's fantastic. So, when you started, um, what suggestion would you like to give to beginner level?
Okay.
Like how did you start? Like from basic, like you have to explain from basic. What was your first step? Yeah.
I think if I talk about the first step, so don't think about grammar a lot. Don't think about
Yeah.
different type of things in the same time. When you start
Yeah.
your journey, so you have to do the practice from your first day. Whether you are doing from self talking, or whether you try to interact with anyone. So start speaking from your first day. It's your first step, I would say. And
Yeah.
apart from this speaking, you have to focus on the reading and writing. Because you know what I feel, that writing makes me like uh, writing gives me the idea of how to form your sentences and how to structure your sentences. So yeah, writing
Yeah.
and reading also help you, but apart from that, don't afraid to take your first step, that you have to speak from your first day.
Okay. So with writing and reading, we
Reading.
have to speak. Like, we don't have to wait for the perfect moment that okay, now
Mhm.
I'll start speaking. Sorry. Once I become perfect, I'll start my speaking journey. That's what
Speaking journey.
Yeah. Very nice suggestion. Wonderful, Neha. Um, I also believe saying we don't have to wait for the perfect moment. Okay. So
Mhm.
day by day, side by side, when we start practicing, we get better at it over the time. Right.
Mm.
Okay. Do you have any favorite word in English?
Okay. I mean, I don't have a favorite word because I have very poor vocab section. So that's why I don't have.
Quite. Acha, okay. So I would like to know one thing here. You mentioned that I have a poor vocab. You are
Mhm.
saying that I have a poor vocab. You are able to communicate. So I have come across people. They say that, "Ma'am, I'm not able to communicate because I don't have enough vocab." So
Mhm.
what is it like? How one can communicate even without vocab? What's your views on this?
Okay, so uh, like I mentioned that I have I have poor vocab. That means I don't have vocab which is very like advanced vocab.
Mhm.
Whenever I try to interact with the person who are into this field from almost 2 to 3 years, they try to indulge a little bit advanced vocab. So that time I am not able to understand what they are saying. But if you
Yeah.
communicate with me a very familiar vocab, I am able to understand, and I am also able to like give you the my point of view over this.
Wow, brilliant. So do you think if a person doesn't have, advanced vocab, like
Hmm.
sophisticated ornamental words, if one person doesn't have,
Hmm.
will they be able to communicate?
Yeah,
You,
absolutely. Because
yeah.
communication means what you are able to like say your sentences, say your thoughts to the other person, and they are able to understand you. So that's the meaning of the communication.
And you are the living example of it. So now I'm going to tell every learners around me, whoever approach me, that
Hmm.
watch Neha, she doesn't have enough vocab, but she communicates with multiple people, that too in an effective way. The way
Hmm.
you politely and one by one you put your point. I really admire it. So now I'm going to suggest everyone that watch Neha if you make an excuse that I don't have enough vocab.
Hmm.
Yes.
No, no, yeah, I have poor vocab, but I am trying to improve myself. As I mentioned, that I try to listen the other person very very consistently and concentrantly. So that time I adapt the vocab also, because maybe I am not able to know the exact meaning of that vocab, but I am able to like understand the meaning of that sentence. So I try to adapt vocab from others.
Wow. It means you observe as well how next
Mhm.
person is speaking, how they are framing
Mhm.
sentences, right? And you
Right.
mentioned one thing that I am learning, right? That's how everybody learns. We must
Mhm.
not just make an excuse that, okay, I don't have, so I'll not start. You are starting. Like you are,
Mhm.
as I said earlier, you are the living example. You have started, and side by side, you are learning as well.
Exactly.
Fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I loved it. And I would love to have conversation again with you. But till then, bye bye.
Thank you so much for giving your valuable time, ma'am. Bye bye.
Most welcome. Bye bye.